Good afternoon, good evening. This is Lieutenant Colonel Steve Warren doing a mic check with the outstation Sean Stone. Over.
Hi, sir.
Got it. Thanks. Titled, "The Next Greatest Generation is Now." I'd like to recognize the special guests we have joining us in the outstations. Virtually, we have Major General Alex Fink, Chief of the Army Enterprise Marketing Office. We have Brigadier General Roy McErig, National Guard Assistant for the Army National Guard Personnel and Talent Management. We have Command Sergeant Major John Sampa, Command Sergeant Major of the Army National Guard. We also have representation from our advertising agency, Team DDB, who helped develop and produce The Next Greatest Generation is Now. Those individuals are Mr. Chris Poltoric, Mr. John Karstens, Mr. Luke Limani, and Ms. Megan Fisher. I'd like to thank all the adjutants generals and senior enlisted leaders from the 54 states, territories, and District of Columbia for joining us today for this exciting occasion. I would also like to welcome the National Guard Bureau Directorates and Recruiting and Retention Commands from across the 54. This is truly a celebration of the Army National Guard moving forward and adapting to new challenges as we strengthen the National Guard's identity within our communities across the 54. As we proceed throughout the presentation, the National Guard Marketing has moderators available to answer questions in the chat. Any remaining questions will be followed up after the event via email. At this time, I would like to introduce Lieutenant General John Jensen, Director, Army National Guard.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for joining us today. Truly an exciting day for the Army Guard as we put forward our new marketing effort. Full transparency, I had absolutely nothing to do with this, right? I literally showed up and they said, hey, sir, look at this cool thing. And I was incredibly impressed. And so I'd just like to thank a couple people here that are a part of this and just give you a couple thoughts here. First, from the Army Enterprise Marketing Office, Major General Fink, our Army Guard Strength Management Division, the whole division, and the advertising agency, DDB, who, obviously, put this thing together for us, but also the 16 soldiers, the 16 Army National Guard soldiers who you'll see in this product, not actors who don't know how to wear an Army uniform, but our soldiers representing our organization, and the California Army National Guard as well, who played a big role. Our 16 soldiers went to California for the filming of these products that you're going to see. I'm not a marketing wizard, but I would think that the way to market something is you have a big event and then you come behind that big event with a product. And we've been living that big event for 20 years and more. And most recently here in Washington, D.C., and the tremendous response of our states, our 3 territories, to come to the District of Columbia and support their brothers and sisters in the DC Guard. And we're still here. And so when you look at some of the mottos behind me, some of the mottos associated with this marketing program: restless, no, relentless. Live to make a difference. Make change, not excuses. Our future is the future. We saw that on display here in DC over the last several weeks, and we've seen it in a large part across our entire country for the past year, almost a year now, in our COVID-19 response. And what I love about what I have seen of this product so far is it accurately captures our soldiers, right? It doesn't start with a 17-year-old looking individual saying, "Hey, I'm an electrical engineer." Hey, we have electrical engineers in our formation. We absolutely do. But I think what you're going to see here is an authentic portrayal of our soldiers, because these are our soldiers in this message. And so I'm just incredibly proud of the teamwork that brought forth this product. I'm extremely excited to see how this product's going to be reviewed and accepted by the next greatest generation, future soldiers of the Army National Guard. So again, thanks to everybody who came on board today to see what we have to offer. And as always, your feedback is very important to this as we lay out the marketing plan. We've got a great product. We just got to make sure that we get it in front of the right audiences at the right time to make a full impact. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, sir. Cool. Thank you, General Jensen. Now I'd like to introduce the Command Sergeant Major of the Army National Guard, Command Sergeant Major Sampa.
All right. Hey, as General Jensen talked about, I was excited when I saw the videos myself. I was ready to re-enlist because it was so exciting to me, but unfortunately, my time is coming to an end, and that's why it's so important that we focus on the next generation, because we all join to make a difference, not only in our communities, in our state, but overall of our nation. And so again, our requirements, as we just saw this past last week and last year, our requirements are there. And so they're now, and that's why creating the next generation is now. So hopefully you all get excited and go out and recruit somebody, because again, the next generation is now. And our NCOs are going to be the one who's putting our future leaders and our soldiers to our organization. So thank you for having me, team, and Army, National Guard, all the way.
Cool. All right, Sergeant Major. Thank you, Command Sergeant Major Sampa. All right, so this is an amazing live Teams event. So we're going to try to do our first virtual plug-in. So here today to talk about the relationship between the Army National Guard and the Enterprise and the Army Enterprise Marketing Office is Major General Alex Fink, Chief of the Army Enterprise Marketing. Sir, how are you?
Great, Steve. Thank you. And again, Alex Fink, I'm in charge of Army Marketing, Army Enterprise Marketing. And before I begin, I just want to thank all of you, and particularly all of those soldiers that you represent. 2020 was a year like no other, and even here in January, and the Army National Guard has been at the forefront of every calamity that we've had this past year. So thank you personally from me and my family for the great support of soldiers. First, I want to, as just a quick introduction of myself. I am an Army Reserve officer. I'm currently on an ADOS in this job, and was selected for this role just because I happen to have had a civilian career in marketing. But I am an Army Reserve soldier. I started out on active duty for a few years. Spent my captain years actually in the Army National Guard here in the Illinois Guard. In fact, it was a little clear here in Chicago. I'm in Chicago presently. If it was a little clear, I'm here in the loop. I could just about see General Jones Armory, where I was a member of the 2nd of the 122 Field Artillery, and then later on transitioned over to the Army Reserve, where I've been a TPU or in your lingo, a M-Day soldier, mostly except for deployments and mobilizations for the last 22 years or so. In that time, I also had a great opportunity as a battalion commander within 1st Army to work with mobilization. Spent a lot of my time during that command tenure at Fort Hood, where I worked with a number of Army National Guard units, particularly the 40th Combat Aviation Brigade out of California, and still have a lot of good friends from those days. So I just want to let you know a little bit of background, because I think it pertains a little bit to the next piece is what I want to talk about, which is our name, Army Enterprise Marketing. And that enterprise was selected specifically because it really is a whole of Army, one Army approach. And I acknowledge that you've heard those words before, one Army, total Army, and that policies, programs, and even the actions of some haven't necessarily matched those words. But I think this is different. I think Army Enterprise Marketing, we really are act as one team, and perhaps Steve and others can vouch for me on this. We don't look at the reserve component as a bolt-on to an active component add. We start with the whole idea of a total Army approach, and you'll see this in a lot of the materials coming out of Army Enterprise Marketing, as well as and hopefully you'll see them in what we're going to look at today. But we look at this as a single approach here, recognizing we have different audiences and different people have different propensities, and we address those through media strategy. But what we have been able to achieve with this relationship is a great deal of collaboration and synergy. Rest assured that all decision authority on all of the Army National Guard materials, content, media strategy is approved by you folks and those you've placed in charge of this. So we don't make decisions, but we do collaborate. And there's been lots of great things that have come from that. For example, media strategy is one. We'll spend a significant portion of our budgets on media strategy, but when we can pull these things together, it improves our opportunities to go out and buy media, giving both of us an advantage in that. So there really are a lot of win-win situations in having this, as well as content, developing content, learning lessons. We've learned a lot of lessons, and some of those we've learned from you. For example, we've taken some of the best practices that you all have seen in the way you run your contact centers, and put those in the way we run how we're now running the contact center. So it truly is a collaborative, synergistic relationship that we have with the Army National Guard. And in particular, my marketing execution director is Colonel Ned Riley, is a guardsman out of Oregon, and I've got 2 other folks on my team that are fully integrated into the Army Enterprise Marketing team who come out of the Army National Guard. So I'm looking forward to seeing this. I've had a few sneak previews of the content. I think it's really cool, and I hope you guys enjoy it as well. Thank you.
Time to address the force. Now, at this time, to introduce the campaign from the Army National Guard, Strength Maintenance Division, is Colonel Damon Hoxton, Chief, Army National Guard Strength Maintenance Division. Colonel Hoxton.
General Jensen, Major General Fink, General McRick, Command Sergeant Major Sampa, Assistant General and Recruiting Force, all the directors here at NGB. Good afternoon, and thanks for attending the National Marketing Campaign. This campaign is a culmination of over 9 months of research, concept development, testing, and then actual production, which took place in December, which, based on a lot of the COVID restrictions, was quite a monumental task, and the team did an outstanding job. The campaign is research-based. It's a result of input from key stakeholders, prospects, applicants, parents, soldiers that are currently in our formation, as well as the recruiting force. It brings a helpful and a hopeful special message to the force that, one, you can accomplish your goals. You can also aspire to continue to achieve all the things that you want to do in your life, but also you can serve your country and your community. I want to thank the HRR Marketing, Steve, and the whole team in partnership with AMO, as well as the ad agency, for pulling this together, as well as the 16 states and territories that specifically participated in the production in December. That was a huge lift by everybody. I'm super excited I'm optimistic. I think this campaign will inject exactly what we need out there in the national media to drive our sessions and ultimately to achieve our in-strength missions for 21, but also 22 and beyond. So to further provide some additional context about the campaign, I'm going to turn it back over to Steve Warren. I don't know if we're able to get the campaign agency on.
We're going to work it right now.
Okay, so back over to Steve. Thank you.
All right, we are staying flexible. So there is a special individual out there who has always kind of stepped up and put Guard Nation first. And I'm going to kind of put her on the spot right now. I don't know if she knows this, but we had a couple technical difficulties getting Chris Poltoric and John Carson's on. But there was an individual that was intimate with the development of the campaign. And I wanted to afford her a few minutes to talk about it briefly. Miss Megan Fisher, are you on the net?
Hi, Colonel Warren. Yes.
Awesome.
Is Chris Poltoric? I don't know. I know he's on, but I'm not sure if he's in the presenter mode. So if he's not, I can certainly speak briefly. Just kind of letting everyone know that Team DDB was obviously so excited to work on this campaign. I think we've all seen plenty of media, lots of media this year, especially that 2020 was truly the year of the Guard. So the Guard was a little bit more front and center, I think, to most of America than people may have been used to seeing. But this has been a true opportunity for the Guard to be featured in a new campaign that really kind of addresses our target audience in a way that they never really have. So Chris Poltoric is obviously the director of DDB. He's in charge of all of it, and I was really hoping that he'd be able to speak and introduce John Carson, who's the creative director, that has been incredibly instrumental. He has one of the most fantastic backgrounds, starting with Apple, working on Nissan, Taco Bell, countless brands, and truly bringing a really unique vision and a different way of looking at things from an Army National Guard standpoint. So just from a campaign strategy, I think one of the most important things that everyone in the field knows is that we started with research, especially looking at the prospects, the influencers, and also current soldiers to sort of see how the campaign concepts and ideas would resonate with the field. We were super excited to see the, I would say, appetite that most of the young prospects had in terms of looking at something from a little bit different direction. So the business problem essentially that we were looking at all along was that the National Guard has had a problem with awareness in terms of people being able to even recognize the National Guard as one of the services of choice. What we're really looking at to show in this campaign is something a little bit more than even the Guard being in your in your backyard or your hometown, but showing the possibilities accelerated that this campaign can really kind of show this generation that you're not necessarily just a stalled generation, or that you're, this whole past year with the pandemic and everything else is setting your future up for a slowed, lack of success. So this campaign in particular brings so much to the forefront, and I'm hoping at some point we can patch DDB in and Team DDB can actually give the upfront that you should have. But I do think that these spots speak for themselves in terms of what a different look and feel they bring to something that we're all so very used to seeing. And I think the recruiters in particular are going to be super excited to have something a little bit more modern, definitely edgy, and really that speaks to the prospects and what's going on in their world.
Thank you, Megan. So John Carson's, if you're on, you can interrupt me. Otherwise, I'm going to continue mission. So I am super grateful to have a job where we find ways to connect today's generation with their purpose for tomorrow. It's been a fun journey to get to this afternoon. COVID, impending government shutdowns, contract expirations coming up, fiscal hurdles were all navigated to get to today. We'd like to thank the California Army National Guard for hosting us on that production again, this time at Joint Training Base Los Alamitos. For the soldiers from across the 16 states that participated, and then the 50 soldiers that supported us from the 41st Infantry Brigade, or Division that is, we really appreciate your efforts back in December. It was a wild ride. So our partners at the Army Enterprise Marketing Office have afforded Guard Nation with an amazing opportunity to roll out a second campaign in nearly 2 years to the force. So I love golf, and my analogy of our partnership with AMO has been this. So we were stepping up to the tee box with our national media with a putter. And over the last 2 years, we've been able to step up to that tee box with the Callaway driver. And we're hitting balls further down the range, and we're reaching into the communities that we need to be in. Also, Team DDB, I want to thank them for their working with our guard marketing team to come up with the concept. As Megan alluded to, this campaign is really a rallying cry to galvanize a generation who's had their lives disrupted. So instead of being the disrupted generation, they are going to be the next greatest generation because they're stepping up to the challenges that they face across the country to see their goals accelerated and to see what life would be like in service to the Army National Guard. So without further ado, what I'd like to do is show you the 3 ads. Now understand we're at the mercy of technology and teams may be a little choppy, so your feed may be delayed. However, the good news is you're going to be able to see all of this first thing in the morning on our YouTube channels and all across our social media and nationalguard.com. So with that, I'd like to transition and show you the 3 creatives. The first that you're going to see is news. The second you're going to see is watch what happens. And then the final one you're going to see is the manifesto, which is the next greatest generation is now. So let's go ahead and give it a whirl.
The news says Gen Z is struggling. I've got news for them.
I wait tables, but last week I built a field hospital.
I put out a forest fire.
I stopped 1,000 attackers.
And a natural disaster.
I've saved lives.
And led a team on patrol.
I serve.
Well, I go to school full-time.
While I work full-time.
The greater the challenge, the stronger we become.
A rogue virus. No jobs. Sky-high tuition debt. Life is trying to put our generation on the sidelines. But we refuse to just sit back and watch it pass us by. Instead, watch us fly ahead. Watch us overcome anything. Watch us rise. Watch us change our world. Watch us become the next greatest generation.
We understand an upside-down world. We understand a rogue virus, 0 jobs, and stratospheric tuition. But they're writing us off before we get to the starting line. A stalled generation? Not so fast. Who do you think is gonna fix all this? We will. We will because our future is the future. Because the life we have chosen has prepared us for this moment in history. So we're going to build bridges and hospitals in a day. We're going to save families from disaster and feed those left in the cold. We're going to do all this and more because we have an appointment with destiny. We invite you to join us. The next greatest generation is now.
Through it, I'll be completely honest with you. What you're going to see in market is going to be 10 times better. It'll be in 1080p. It'll be perfect. So I do want to talk a little bit about the campaign. I'll be brief. So not only do we have the 3 video assets that you saw, but there's an entire ecosystem that we're deploying with about 130 different creatives that get to the display images similar to the tone and texture that you see behind me. That edginess, that call to action, make change, not excuses is my favorite one. Restless, no relentless is another great one. Those will all be in market. I look at it as a cascading and a campaign, right? So we'll have linear assets that you'll typically see on television or through streaming devices. We have a partnership with NCAA college basketball, both women's and men's college basketball, culminating with the men's March Madness tournament coming up in a few months. We also have our paid search and social, our programmatic ads, really to get after this. In the first 4 months, we're front loading a lot of the media, and we anticipate garnering over 28,000 leads just from this. But I think what's important to the field is that these assets are going to be available to you. So we have a comprehensive style guide that will be walking through each of the recruiting command marketing offices with, so they can deploy this, and that'll be happening in the next 10 days. They'll also have access to do creative in some of your state media purchases. We have branded assets that are being mailed out to your states and territories and District of Columbia in the next week. And we really want this to amplify in the messages and the themes down to the local community levels and allow you to customize and put your logo on some of the display ads to make it more hit home with your demographic within your state, territory, or District of Columbia. So we're super excited about that. And one of the things General Mackerick charged me to do, not only with being up here and talking about this campaign, is always what's next, right? So this campaign is going to hit market tomorrow, and we anticipate the first media flight to run through June, and then we'll have another one. And this campaign itself, with these themes, will be constantly looked at by our team and tweaked in order to get the best bang for our dollar in market. With that, there's a few other things on the horizon that I want to talk to briefly. So we have a high school esports league that just kicked off. 25 states are participating in that to really get after that target demographic in a virtual space. And we also have 25 high schools that are going to be selected to have a virtual gaming lab set up in those high schools. Also, because of the complex environment the recruiting world's in right now, we also have another virtual high school entry vehicle through the Dave Ramsey Financial Management Curriculum that integrates the GUARD messaging within that curriculum, and 25 states are also participating in that high school entry vehicle that we're super excited about. With that, we have a few big moving pieces with our website, our contact center, and our state media services media program is going to be integrated within the Army Enterprise Marketing Office contract vehicles. We will maintain the oversight and the dollars and the execution. It'll be seamless to the field. And what I see happening is the expedience to market at the local level will only increase as we move forward with this relationship. So we're excited about things to come. We're excited about this campaign. I want to thank everybody. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Lieutenant General John Jensen, Director of Army National Guard, for closing comments.
Okay, just a couple, maybe a minute and a half here, and then we'll be done. When I first watched the content, at the end, I commented. What I loved about the content was it was the right soldiers with the right voices, conducting the right activity, being supported by the right messages, and I still feel that way today. But look, here's what we know is the key to this, and that's that local focus, right? Our soldiers joined their local National Guard, their state National Guard. In my case, I joined the Iowa National Guard. And so the local effort remains the most important effort. And this national effort, what's great about it is we can help tailor it for that local, that state level, because that's where our success is. When we're successful at the local and the state level, we're successful at the national level. And so I'm just really excited to be a small part of that effort as we enable our states to be successful. So again, thanks to everyone who queued in today to take an early look at these great products. And again, your feedback's very, very important. And look, hey, I understand what we are doing is supporting your effort. So the Army National Guard, we always remain, always there, always ready. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Army Guard Directorate and all the outstations, we appreciate your time today. This concludes the ceremony. Thank you for attending.